Music courtesy of Fox, Mr. Get Right, Get Left, Queen Amara, song named Dreams.
Take the chains away. We mentally enslaved, trying to catch a payday. It's embedded in our brains not to trust our brother. Systemic racism make it hard for a come up.
The good in the neighborhood. Voices of the beautiful struggle.
Trying to make it to the end zone, but I'm stuck.
Yours truly, y'all know who it is. It's your boy, Mr. Uncut, Uncut Live Productions. We have some talent here in the DMV, the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And before here, y'all see this elegant art? Look at what we have right here.
Well, it's not in display mode. I just took it out of display mode.
Can you tell the individuals? Can you tell the individuals a little bit about your creativity?
Well, since COVID-19, it's easy to see that people are needing to be outside and still be productive. You know, you see a lot of restaurants, they start setting up on the sidewalks because there's not much access to the inside, you know, COVID-19 or whatever. But you know, people who took to the streets long before COVID-19, and they had to make a living that way, and they had to protect themselves from the elements. So my whole setup is just a way to keep, you know, communicating with the people and keep being productive, but still staying away from the elements and still staying free from the elements. So I mean, it took COVID-19 to get a lot of people to see productive people on the streets from a more positive perspective. You know, a lot of people were just homeless, you know, but a lot of people too were just out here trying to be productive and using all of their time until they find success. So I got a patent on the concept. I call it my pod, and mine is a lot more evolved in the sense because of COVID-19, and I stopped right here to do art. But yeah, initially it was just something to keep the proactive on the go and still stay free from the elements.
How long have you been doing this art thing? Like, is there something? Have you always had a creativity with doing art?
I've always been doing art, but it's been manifested itself more and more as the need for people to be on the streets defines itself. You know, like I said about COVID-19, you had all of these people who had to go from being inside to outside, and COVID justified people being outside, whereas before COVID-19, you know, the only people who were really outside were people who were homeless. You know, so COVID. I've always been out here, but you know, it's just taken this long to justify me being out here. You know, beyond the point of just, you know, he's homeless. You know.
You have some pieces you mind showing on camera?
Everything is part of my collection of smiles. This was just my display. It was actually more of a help sign, so I had my whole story written on it at first, and then as time went on, I saw people were more attracted to art caught more of an eye. And I didn't really want to initially do art because I felt like I should have a little bit more compensation from the system, you know, which is why I came to DC and pursued a certain litigation to get compensation for the system having held me back. So I didn't really want to start out doing art. So when I first came out here, this was a sign, and it told my whole story to help me get an attorney or a pro bono attorney. And you know, people, it just didn't really attract eyes, you know, the political statements and words. So I painted a national flag on it because people were taking pictures of the fireworks that showed up right over there over that building, and my words are just getting really tacky and really old. Maybe it's about as tacky and old as this SpongeBob over here, but it's in the works, you know. This was 2D, so I'm converting it to 3D. But you know, you can see, for example, like that was just words, but it was tacky, and people was taking pictures of it, and I want my stuff to live in their memories like that. So I painted a big fat national flag over it, and people took even more pictures of it. So I started using art to campaign my litigation, and then I got a patent on my workstation, or you know, this local art station thing, and I started using more and more art to promote that, my patent. So yeah, this is a Minion SpongeBob duel, you know, because they're yellow. And I started out with SpongeBob because this was a sign for a urology convention to tell them which bus or which way to get on when they checked into the hotels in 2014. So it just sat here for 2 years. And I was like, oh my God, if I'm an artist that I said I was, I have to make something of that raggedy sign. So I just put my story on it at first. And then I painted a flag because that would catch more attention. And then I thought of SpongeBob because a lot of the kids, they would stand in front of the flag painted, and they just like to take pictures by it. So I thought, you know, SpongeBob is square, you know, the same shape, and that would make a more enjoyable picture, you know, to take in front of it. So then I did SpongeBob, but this side was still a flag. So just recently I converted this side to a Minion. I didn't want to have to go buy the saws and stuff because I don't like sharp blades, but it was worth it to cut the edges off there and make a Minion out of it. So that's how that one got started. And from SpongeBob and the Minions came my collection of smiles.
Wow.
So I started doing the Joker first, and then I got everyone else, you know. The Mask, Terminator. These are mostly smiles that people that are opinionated, you know, if you will.
Wow, beautiful. Look at that, y'all.
Yeah. The Mask, he throws away his mask persona despite being so happy about being the Mask, you know.
Wow.
And the Terminator is a matter of perspective, you know. People say, okay, if you don't have your skin on your bones, then you're gonna be totally miserable. But I think the Terminator, okay, the T-800, would dispute that.
This is magnificent, y'all. This is black excellence, black talent, black beauty.
This is just an homage to COVID-19. You know, I would usually do a smile, but since he's wearing a mask, and most people had to cover their masks and cover their smiles up via COVID-19, I think everybody was feeling like ninjas, or most people was feeling like ninjas. You know, like Scorpion and Sub-Zero. These clear ones like this, they're not finished. All of this happened really fast. You know, I started really getting into it in 2018, but as COVID kicked in, you know, being outside defined itself more and more. So I started doing more and more and getting more and more into art, as you know, it was easily and more readily defined. You know, whereas before COVID-19, it's like I had to do all the work explaining why I was out here. You know, so most of my time being out here was literally just explaining why I'm out here. You know?
Wow.
But then when COVID-19 happened, it was like kind of self-explanatory. You know, so then I could do art, and it was just like, oh, you know, everybody's, you know, separating and trying to be distancing itself. But this guy's doing art meanwhile. Look, you see, kind of explaining itself a lot. And that was even for me too, because like I said at first, I was just out here, you know, trying to protest it and get campaigns for pro bono and litigation or whatever. I was doing a little bit of art, but mostly I was trying to explain, you know, how I felt entitled to compensation.
Wow.
And recently with the city coming out and everything, because I have to mix a combination of chemicals, like over-the-counter stuff you can buy at the supermarket to repel the rats. And they came out to investigate my stuff. I think they wanted to make sure that I wasn't mixing like a meth lab or making some sort of warfare or something. But
Beautiful.
They were basically kind of threatening to take all my work, so I started these bigger collections, and I was just gonna go big or go home with these bigger ones. But then someone else had had gathered up all my art so, you know, whoever wouldn't come and take all my hard work. So now I'm back to, you know, the regular size. I'm still gonna finish those in that size though, because, you know, they're really big. So this size came out. This is my original size. Let's see, my SpongeBob original size, and I do Minions this size too.
Wow.
And these are all my material, you know, not canvas. This is the material I use to design my prototype.
Wow.
My workstation, which is under there, you know.
Wow.
So as time, you know, like I said, as time went on and being out here defined itself, my art started defining itself and getting more conventional too. So I went from making my own canvases to just buying a regular canvas. So this is going to be a smaller version, a little bigger version of those. Those are for souvenirs. You know, they're not really, I mean, they are part of my collection. Everything an artist makes is part of his collection. But a lot of people, they just want a souvenir. You know, they don't want to invest in your future or your cause or whatever. But however, you know, they just want a small piece at a time. So that's why I made those really smaller ones. I have a picture of, have a small video of my pod that I patented, and gotta find my phone. But yeah, you know, I like to show that to you. Yeah. Of the company that's helping me market this, they went ahead and made a 3D animation of my ideal concept, so they can market it to people who buy it. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, that's my pod. So pictures are worth a lot more than words. So that's just like it visually. And a brief explanation, it's going to be like the electric scooters, you know,
wow.
Something that you could access on the sidewalk, but instead of being outside like the electric scooters, you actually be able to step inside and be free from the elements, but still be sidewalk accessible, and you know, get to where you want to get to that way.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, like COVID-19 is pushing all these ideas, and it's making it more defined beyond their usual points of origin. Like my pods, for example, that would have been something that was just really considered leisure. But you know, via COVID-19, you got all these people who want to gather around, but they have to distance themselves. And being in a pod would allow people to gather, like say, like free concerts, but they'd be within pods, so they could be, you know, right next to each other as long as they stayed in their pod, like that. And that's just the leisure aspect of it. But pods are good for safety too, you know, because I noticed when I'm out here, like I told you earlier, a guy tried to attack me, you know, and vandalize my stuff, and he was only taking advantage of the fact that I couldn't run into a store, I couldn't run into someone's car, and by the time the police come, he'd already jacked me up, you know. But if there were pods out here, you know, just like safety pods where people can run and jump into when they're feeling in danger and wait for authorities to come, then that would be good too. And that's what I'm trying to market. That's what I'm trying to get out here, because it helped me out. But in my sense, it just helped me stay away from the elements and keep communicating with people like you know, when I designed it. And when I saw the electric scooters out there, I was like, okay, now that's something that they're not doing. Because I was looking for somewhere to buy my design, and it hadn't been invented yet, you know. But they invented the electric scooters, and they invented the Segway, but they hadn't invented my pod yet. The closest thing that was out from when I checked was this egg that Hyundai developed, which the rider just puts on a helmet, and it's basically like a Segway, but a shell that comes up to about the chest area. But my pod, you know, it's just more evolved. It'll have the whole shell going over the top, you know. And yeah, you know, so
I appreciate you sharing your story. And there you have it, folks.